Greetings YouTube, time for another bargain video. First up we have a DK book about Superman. This is in slightly rough conditions. It was originally a library book. I'm going to give it to my therapist, figuring if his kids can't use it as a book as is, they might be able to use it for art projects, because it's got some really good internal illustrations of Superman's history. And all kinds of information in there I never even heard about Superman. So if you really are into Superman, you might want a copy of that. Then we have Acts and Facts, which is really kind of funny because this is from the Institute for Creation Research. So this is Creationists magazine. I'm going to look at it and then I'm going to destroy it. I'm not going to donate it. I'm going to recycle it. And I still can't quite fathom what creation research looks like. If you're a creationist, you say, God did it. And then you're done. So, I don't know why they need a magazine. So I'm going to take a look at that. Then we have Herschel and the Hanukkah Goblins, illustrated by Trina Schardt-Hyman and written by Eric Kimmel, which is kind of interesting, the idea of a Jewish holiday story that I've never heard of. So I'm going to take a look at that. I got it also for my wife because it has some nice illustrations. Then we have the Eyewitness Atlas of the World, which is kind of nice because it's each like little page dedicated to like Central China, North and East, West Asia, West Africa. And that's also for my therapist to give to his kids who need something to do while they're waiting for their parents sometimes. Then we have the Earth Sheltered Habitat, History, Architecture, and Urban Design. This is from 1983. And this is really informative. This covers all the way back to Neolithic Earth-sheltered habitats up through the latest designs that were being put forth by researchers and architects in the 1980s. When it still didn't look like it was out of reach, that we may be radically changing how we live our lives. And there aren't many people who have done it, but Earth-sheltered habitats and homes have always fascinated me. Then we have the NPC Protection Manual from the headquarters from the Department of the Army. This is the actual U.S. military operations manual for dealing with nuclear, biological, and chemical weapons. How to shelter in place, how to proper construction of foxholes, proper attire and everything. So I thought that would be fascinating. In fact, these two books together would definitely be helpful if someone were going to be doing a post-apocalyptic game. So I purchased this most partly because I find it historically interesting, also as an inspiration for gaming. Then we have Gearhead, the Turbulent Rise of Robotic Sports, which is pretty much the only sporting type that I give a crap about. The Design of Everyday Things by Donald Norman. I recently saw something online about this, and my wife's like, "Are you going to get his book?" And I thought, yeah, I'll probably get his book. And then I bumped into it at a thrift store for $1. I'm like, awesome. Then we have Alcatraz, The True End of the Line, which is written by one of the men who stayed at Alcatraz. The Man Who Mistook His Wife for a Hat, and Other Clinical Tales by Oliver Sacks. This is a book I have heard of, but I've never read it, and I get it for wicked cheap. Not Much, Just Chillin', The Hidden Lives of Middle Schoolers. Now, this is about the lives of middle school American students. I did not buy it because I'm interested in the lives of middle school students. I bought it because I want to see how the author did the research. The research, what was it? Yeah, Linda Pearlstein. How she did the research and how she presented it to parents, because she, and apparently all the people reading this book, forgot what it was like to be a middle school student. And I am stupefied by that. I really would love if someone could tell me how it is that as soon as a person becomes a parent, they have completely forgotten what it was like to be someone under the age of 18. It's just like they completely forget, and I don't get it, because I sure don't. So maybe I'm not a parent. So maybe if I became a parent, I would suddenly forget everything, and I would need a book like this. So I'm not reading this for insight into the children's lives. I'm reading this for insight into the minds of the author and the parents who are reading this, who apparently have completely forgotten their own childhoods. Then we have Ninjutsu for Women, Ninja Secrets of Defensive Fighting. I bought that for my wife, so I thought it would make her smile. We have Taking Things Seriously, which is a book of actual items and the history behind them. So literally, like, here we have, what do we got here? Oops. We have a dark frying pan, looks like. And the frying pan and the history behind this frying pan. Not the history of frying pans, but the history of this frying pan from the point of view of the person that owns it. So why all these different items are important to the people who own them. Because that kind of stuff fascinates me. On to the next section. And here we have some DVDs and Blu-rays. First we have The Losers, which I'd never seen, was completely unaware that Chris Evans was in this. And it was a whole lot of style over substance. The acting wasn't very good. The writing wasn't very good. The storyline wasn't very good. I can see why it didn't do well. And I can see why it didn't become a franchise, which they were kind of hoping, because they left the end open. But yeah, it wasn't great. I may watch it again. I'm not sure if this has commentary or not, but it's, like I said, it wasn't great. We have Cars 2, which actually has a Blu-ray disc and a DVD disc, and the DVD disc is in horrible shape, but the Blu-ray disc is in nice shape. That's why I bought it. Then we have 3 Robert Altman films, which are The Shot, Ricochet, and Father John. I have respect for Robert Altman as a director, so I thought I would pick this up, because 3 films for $3 seems like a good deal. And we have Matt Damon in The Informant. I actually haven't heard a lot about this, but I like Oceans 11 and 13, so maybe I'll like this too. And we have Rush Hour, which I got specifically for the commentary track. The Best Exotic Marigold Hotel, which I got for under $1. I'd heard good things about this. My wife's like, I didn't know if you'd be interested or not. And I am, so there we go. Rise of the Planet of the Apes, which I realized when I got home, I'm like, I may actually have this, so I may be getting rid of that. Murphy's Romance, a romantic comedy, which I have always had a great fondness for and didn't have a copy in my collection. Sally Fields and James Garner. The Four Brothers, which I didn't realize this initially, but this is a modern retelling set in Detroit of the John Wayne film The Sons of Katie Elder. And it wasn't startlingly original, but it was fairly tight, moved nicely, and I actually thought it wasn't bad. Then we have No Doubt Rocksteady Live. I was a big No Doubt fan in the past. I still have a great deal of fondness for them, so I figure I'd give their concert a view. We have Valhalla Rising, which I've heard good things about, so I thought I'd give that a view. Then we have Dragonlance, a Dungeons & Dragons adventure tale. So I've never seen this, so it's an animated, so I thought I'd give it a view. Then we have The Messenger, which I've also heard good things about, but I've never seen it. And then we have The Three Musketeers and The Four Musketeers. The Complete Musketeers. Oh, it's just 2 films, but yeah. Which films I have not seen in a very long time. So that'll be cool to see those. Then we have some gadgets. First of all, we have this pot, which has a heavy lid with drain holes on either side. But my attraction, this is an Everware, or Wherever, sorry. That bottom is solid steel. And my wife sometimes likes to use pots for heating up soups and things. And this will give a nice even heat, because that plate will help get the flow of heat from the burner to the food more evenly. So that was kind of nice. It looks like it might be quite useful. Then we have this stone hot plate. I just happen to really like the way this stone looked. I'm not sure why. It has a nice heft to it, and I have a thing for stone. So I'm going to use a hot plate. And we have an egg, which has a chicken on it, because we own a Bell, which is a egg cup. So I'm going to put this in the egg cup. So the egg cup has something to do, and my wife has a thing for chickens. Oops. Speaking of bells, pick this up, and I don't know, I think I paid less than $1 for that, so that was pretty good. Here we have a long spoon, silver plated. My wife and I like to make smoothies sometimes, and we only have one of these, and so only one of us can use it. Now we have 2. Then we have a small magnifying glass, which is nice because it's got a standoff, and you can put it right on the item, and it is the perfect distance for figuring out what you're looking at. And because it's clear here, it lets light in. I paid $1 for that, so I thought it might be useful for quick looks and things like that. Then we have this vintage, possibly antique can opener. So this thing slides down this way, and then it grips onto the jar top, and then you crank down on it to lock it in place, and then you use the whole thing as leverage. This is some kind of a tool for opening something, I'm not sure what, and I believe this might be also for grabbing lids and popping them off. I'm not positive. I don't know how old this is. It just says Taiwan, but it's not new. It's a style of opener I've never seen before, but I think it's fairly old. And we have an Energizer set of lamp lights. I have not even opened this up yet. I just picked these up on sale. I think I paid $10 for those. So I thought I'd give that a try and give a review on those. I kind of like this flat panel design. We have a thumb drive. There we go, thumb drive, which looks like a medical researcher of some variety from the Thermo.com Corporation. This has someone's holiday pictures on it. They went to some kind of award show or award event in Rotterdam. And these are their pictures. There's like over 100 of them. They look like nice people. I wonder if they realize they gave a thumb drive away to a thrift shop with their pictures on it. I'm not sure. Then we have an Opinel number 9 Hawkbill knife. This is actually missing the retaining collar, so I may see if I can figure out something. But it's in excellent shape, so I can't figure out how they broke the retaining collar because the rest of this looks like it was never touched. So I'm not sure how they did that. But I may see if I can get another one or something, or just put it in my collection. But when you're cutting with this, you're cutting in a direction where that actually wouldn't be much of an issue. But it's very pretty, and it's in nice shape other than that. So I got to get it for a good price. On to, I think, the last section. Here we have a large plastic magazine rack, which I use for softbound role-playing books. So I picked that up for a song because I like to use those on my shelf. It means if I want to grab an entire bunch of books, I can just grab the whole thing and pull it off the shelf. It also keeps the softbound books from slumping and damaging themselves. So that's kind of convenient. And I think I paid $2 or $1 for that. Here we have, this is Mexican Blues, I guess is the brand name, but this is alpaca wool made in Peru, and it's in really nice shape. It has, oh, it's so soft. It's so soft. And then usually it has a hood, something I don't normally wear in sweaters, but I just couldn't pass this up. So this is Peruvian alpaca, and I don't own an alpaca sweater. I know I have a sweater problem. So I'm going to wash this up and wear it. I haven't worn it yet. I'm going to go wash it probably as soon as this is done in a no-spin, cold, delicate cycle so I don't harm the wool. Then we have some feather fletchings. Or Fletchlight lanes. I don't think they're feathers. I'm not positive. But I may actually want to play with fletching someday, and for $1, it was an entire pack. Couldn't lose. Here we have a... Whoops. Got that backwards. Sorry. This is a Camillus hunting knife. It's from titanium. I picked this up for like $5 at Walmart. They were trying to get rid of them. And I just bought this for a review. See if I like... their overall feel to the knife and see how sharp it is, because I don't hunt. Here we have a Kershaw fixed blade. All right, I've never heard of this model. It is the 1012, which makes me think it's kind of old. It's not in perfect shape. The spine's been a little battered. I think it may actually have been used for batoning. I'm not positive. But this is a design style that I have never seen before, and it's a style that looks very old. It does not look new, so I'm thinking this has got to be at least 15 or 20 years old, but this is actually made in Japan, and the sheath is actually made in the U.S. Wilsonville, Oregon. I don't think they make anything in the United States anymore. I'm not positive. So I picked that up at a flea market, and it was just it was a design I never saw before. And this is a size of knife that I think is ideal for camp work, even though this is a little on the thick side. But, you know, there'll be a more detailed review in the future. And here we have someone's modification of a hand axe. I don't know what brand this is. I haven't actually looked on here to see if there's any info or not. But it's been slightly abused. But what made me smile about this is this homemade handle. It is very thick, and it's actually too thick for me. But it may have been custom to the person who made the modification, and that kind of thing makes me smile. So that's why I picked it up to add to my collection. And here we have this. I think this was a tine from a tilling machine, like an industrial scale agricultural tool. It needs to be straightened out, and I'm going to grind the points onto this to their sharper and actually put an edge on each one on one bevel on this side, probably another bevel on the other side. Not overly sharp, just like a 45, something like that, so I can throw it and stick it in something. I still need to get a target, but I picked that up just to make a throwing star out of it, because it's a perfect throwing star shape. I mean, the amount of work that would take me to turn a saw blade into this is vastly longer than it would take me just to modify this slightly, clean it up, grind some points and edges on it, and you're good to go. And it's a nice size. And then lastly, we have some wood and steel. These are 2 pieces of mild steel, just 3 feet long rods, and 2 3-foot oak, I think this is oak, dowels. And I picked these up for less than $1 a piece at a yard sale, a community yard sale. And then we have this tool handle, which is, I don't know what wood this is. It's heavier than oak. It could be hickory. It's really got a nice heft to it. I plan on turning this into a war club, so I'm actually probably going to cut it off right about there, put a section of pipe in here with a cap, and then put capped bolts through here, threaded rods with cap nuts on it to make it kind of look like a Herculean club. That's my design idea. And I have been playing with this idea for a couple weeks now, and if I go to the hardware store to pick one of these up, it's going to cost me like $12-16 for this tool handle. I think I paid $3 or $4 for this. So much better deal, and I think it's heftier than I would have found at a contemporary hardware store. So this is going to become a new weapon at some point. So I'm kind of looking forward to that. Though humorously, when I went to build my last club, I'm walking around with a baseball bat, and there were people watching me. This is a hardware store where they sell hundreds and hundreds of things which you could hurt another human being with. Machetes, wrenches, pipes, you name it. And they were worried about a guy walking around with a baseball bat. I was baffled by that. My wife thought it was pretty humorous because she's like watching them watch me. So what can you do? So that has been the bargain video, and I really think this sweater is awesome.